What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for watching this. So excited to have you here. We're going to crack into this beautiful training. And if you've ever wondered how I'm able to carry the crowd, how I'm able to train at a deep, underlying, powerful level, either at a live event, either on a webinar, a live immersion, training, immersive, powerful experience with both clients and the public, and being able to allow myself to still feel the energy, the flow, the intuition, the aligned energetics of creation of value while also attraction of high value clients, having a very high conversion rate and closing anywhere from 20K to 100K from the stage or from a webinar, whether that be selling from a direct to sale on the event where people go to the back of the room and we enroll them as a group, obviously answering any questions that they may have about the logistics or the how it works with them, and also with booking a call at the end of the webinar. Okay. And so both of those strategies work. Okay. It's just really just kind of depends on your audience volume. It depends on the systems that you've got going on, and there's some other subtle factors that play into this, but generally speaking, even high level companies that do have a big audience will still implement the hey, let's jump on a booking a call, right, a short quick chat to just make sure that it's a fit. You're a fit for us, we're a fit for you, we gotta snuff you out, you gotta snuff us out, so on and so forth. And so that's the formula that we're going to show you how to do. Okay. We're not going to show you how to build out like a sales page for people to go do that, but we will show you the framing that does need to be there on a sales page that's going to convert to, hey, sign up and register for this free challenge, this 3-day challenge, or this 1-day live event on Zoom. Okay. So with that being said, what we want to also understand is that none of this matters. It's all useless, generally speaking, at least in the context of having a great result from this, is you've got to understand several components around not only sales, but also human behavior. And also there's a spiritual element to this too. And so the spiritual element to this is understanding that at any second you can change the channel and choose into accessing the dimension and timeline of your highest self. And this is one of my most favorite topics to cover in trainings of how to really curve time and how to align with different timelines. Time is a very practical, useful tool when you have a good relationship with that. And so this is the first thing that I'd have any of our clients really write down is, what is my relationship to time? Okay, before we get started with this whole training on how to actually structure the underlying frames of the webinar or the live event, the masterclass, etc., we want to ask ourselves that question, because when you don't have a good relationship with time, your calendar tends to drag you around and other responsibilities tend to distract us. And then we end up just kind of procrastinating and perfectionism and self-doubt. So instead of that, why don't we just imagine that we're visualizing right now a waterfall, and you're slowing down the speed of the waterfall in your mind and you're speeding it up faster, and just get a feel for how you feel when you slow down the image in your mind, the movie, and then you speed it up. Okay. This is how you would go ahead and change the channel, because the speed at which you're able to create sales in your coaching business or in your entrepreneurial service-based business is definitely going to be determined at how normal you can make that in your nervous system and in your mindset and in your leadership, to be able to have a system that is step-by-step to be able to attract and convert clients at a higher, faster rate, because you could make $1 million in 30 years, or you can make $1 million in 1 year or a month. Okay, that speed is what is the equivalent of, is it wealth or is it not wealth? Okay, so speed is a factor. Financial freedom, having a system to allow you to do that, is what's going to give you not only financial freedom, but also financial security, because financial security is a myth. Money sitting in the bank is useless. It's actually lowering value, so to speak. Now, don't take that out of context. It's not completely useless. You want to build up different nest eggs because that's just financially sound. But generally speaking, if it's not put in high return assets, such as a business, such as high level mutual funds or real estate, it's really not as valuable as you may assume it is from your parents' programming and so on and so forth. So now that we're in the frequency of alignment with the now, what we want to do is we want to start with first deciding what is the ultimate outcome that I want from this. Okay, meaning what is the financial result and why do I want that financial result? What's the underlying emotional reason, the higher purpose reason why you want to source this result? Okay. From there, of course, we want to decide when we want to have the actual date. And you want to make sure that you are planning it, okay, to launch the first piece of content that's marketing the live event no later than 11 days out. Okay. I found in my experience that it's just a waste of time and energy to be able to be making content and start promoting a live event more than 11 days out. People usually sign up within the 10-day mark, and most people actually sign up the day right before and the day of, or even hours before. Okay. So with that being said, there's many different ways that you can do a webinar. And I've tried a bunch of different ways, and I've been guided by other mentors that I continue to be relentless with hiring and innovating with, who have data-driven strategies so that I can be at the top of my game and at the cutting edge of what's actually working in the industry. Okay. So with that being said, the next step is, once you've decided the timeline that you would like to set that out, the next step is going to be, how are you going to do it? Okay. So first, once we get clear on the date, we want to start creating, of course, content for social media platforms. If you're omnipresent, you just create the same content for each platform. You just repurpose it and post it on all those things, like the private Facebook group if you have one, your email, not your email list. Well, yeah, I would say technically yes, your email list, and also the social media platform, whether that be Instagram or what have you. Most people that we work with leverage Instagram the most, but I know some clients we've worked with have YouTube, and they have other platforms like Facebook. Okay. So what I'd like to show you here is I'm going to pin my screen right now. Okay. Because this is a high level training that I want to make sure that we get in your hands so that you could start applying it and implementing it. Now, just understand that this is going to be a very seamless process for you to understand how to do this the right way. Okay. And get the most ROI on the time and energy that you're going to be investing and planning and prepping for this amazing experience that you're going to be giving to your clients or your potential clients. And so the first component that you want to get clear on, okay, is how can I create, let's just say, 8 to 10 pieces of content that you're going to release, okay, in a systematic, strategic way. And what I would say is write this down. First is story, is your story, okay? Second type of piece of content to promote the live event is client story. Okay, we call those conversion stories. And then the third type of story is sharing your philosophy and overarching why or vision, values. Okay, it's the company mission. Okay, that's important to attract aligned individuals into that experience. Okay. And then the fourth one is polarization, changing beliefs, right? Polarizing is designed to not only change beliefs, but that change of belief creates the frequency of the feeling, which changes what? The behavior, according to neuroscience. So you want to frame it as, you know, I've observed that most people make this mistake, or most people are actually doing this, or they've tried this failed solution, and it's not their fault. I was there too, but this is what this is why they're actually not getting the result. Instead, then you shine a light on, okay, teaching people what to want, which is, of course, part of your offer, or at least at a high level description of education and entertainment as to, illuminating why your part of your offer is important and what the opportunity cost even could be from not just knowing it. Get that right? Say that out loud. Not knowing exactly how to, not knowing exactly how and when. Okay, super, super important to have that framing, okay? Because it's easier to pre-frame than reframe. So that's 4. Then 5 is lifestyle, of course, sharing your lifestyle. Okay, you don't need to be this billionaire to be showing off your yacht, to be able to show people just your natural, normal human being lifestyle, to get a vibe for, oh, this person has a life. They have a personality outside of life. And that's something that you obviously want to share. Okay. And you can also clue into why you're sharing it as it relates to your offer. But ultimately, people don't buy the money. They buy what money can give them in terms of being able to do things, have experiences, and be able to just enjoy the time freedom, right? The discretionary time freedom that comes with that, and the creativity. So now that we've covered those 5 main components, there's also a 6th one, which is, generally speaking, the 6th one is more around question and answer. So, framing it in a common question that you get from either clients, or that you got today, or that you got from in the DMs constantly. Okay, that's also going to really attract these clients. These are the 6 types of messages that you want to make sure that you incorporate in promoting the webinar. And the reason why I'm sharing this training with all of you is because it's just easier for you to be able to, pause the recording, take the notes, allow your nervous system to receive this and integrate this into your head so that you can be clear. Okay, clarity creates speed. Okay, so that's the now what you do is you just apply the content itself, the creative itself, with the vibe of like the embodiment of what you teach. And then the copy, of course, could be either in the video itself, or it could be in the copy segment as to, okay, who's it for? Why does this matter to the niche of your client? Meaning, what's the pain and desire? Why does it matter in terms of their outcome? And how are they going to get there faster, easier, simpler, and permanently and consistently? Okay, because people buy those things. They don't buy the result because they could get the result by themselves. They could get the result, but it's going to take them a lot longer. So now, with that being said, all of you know that what I'm known for is being the nuance and the gray space between, okay, I've got an amazing coaching program and message, and I know exactly how I help my clients, to the actual person getting excited to like move forward and link arms with you. That's what we call the energetic conveying and the energetic conversion of that. Okay, so it's very important to understand that 80% of communication is body language, voice tone, eye contact, posture, rhythm, and the way that you come across. People will do what it takes, actually, not just to buy your solution, but to get as close as possible to your authentic energy. Okay, that's a huge reason why clients maybe subconsciously don't know why they want to work together with us. Is that's what you got to start to recreate and create consciously for yourself, is that like story brand, is that personality brand of that vibe that you put out with both congruence and a sense of authentic humor. That's what you got to get clear about for you, and only you can know what your purpose is. Only you can know like how you're going to actually create your own unique leadership style. But I'm just showing you the context to see through the portal that anyone can access that highest self, the highest self, that it's whole. Everyone wants their attention. Everyone thinks they're hilarious. They've got shiny eyes every time they watch you, perform or create content or serve or whatever. That's the gravitas and the magnetism that anyone can unlock if they know exactly how to access that. Okay. But that's for the programs that's for the actual curriculum, the part of the core curriculum in the Body Wealth Codes. Right today, we're just going to give you the actual framework and the format, okay, and the structure. But this is very important for you to understand. This applies to all of your, hooks and all of your funnels and so on and so forth, your campaigns, the way that you message, bring the message to market. Is you've got to see that there is, and I'll actually even write this on my board here, because I think that's actually the best way to do it. The first thing you got to understand, we're going to get into the actual granular tactical and strategic component, but the principle is what really makes you allow yourself to flow more naturally through the structure and not get all stuck in your head and like just totally filtered. Okay. So the principle is applying to all people at all places at all times. Okay. And one of the things that I've observed about the issue that I see with most coaches, I would say 97% of coaches, is that they're not actually able to have what's called empathy. Okay. Now, there's a funny saying, and this is not the exact quote, but they say that compassion, okay, which is slightly different from empathy, okay, because compassion is still like holding your posture. Empathy is you're kind of going into the pool of water with them, and sometimes you can drown with them, right? If you look deeply into, narcissistic and codependency, the magnet that those two, trauma bonding co-create together, you'll understand that. We don't have time to get into that from my days as a relationship coach, but you've got to understand that empathy can be is like the greatest gift, but also can be the greatest trap as well. Because when you give someone let's just say, if you give someone, a homeless person, the money, okay, that's actually not really going to help them compared to either educating them or letting them stew in their self-absorption, self-righteousness, and pain. Okay. Because without the pressure to be applied from that consciousness, it's actually more useful for that person to get angry and fed up at their situation. At least if you're living in a capitalist society, compared to a communist society, that you actually allowing that to them to have their own journey and letting life give them the rock bottom or low is actually more medicine, because they're going to learn the power of pushing themselves. The key here as it relates to you is, can you see yourself as a process and not a product? Because you know that at the highest spiritual level, it's about self-acceptance. And then in this kind of context of like development, it's about self-improvement. So when you have self-acceptance and you're willing to self-improve, that never ends. That's like the magic nuance formula. But self-acceptance can be a danger, because you could just use this like superior moral high ground of spirituality and not actually do the work, okay? And not actually put yourself in uncomfortable situations and get out of your comfort zone and actually be willing to have the courage to level the fuck up and take a risk worthwhile. So that's the danger of, self-acceptance. And the self-improvement, you can get caught in the hamster wheel, because then you're just never accepting yourself and you can't enjoy the journey. You end up really stuck in your ego that just needs more, and the small separate self that just needs more to fill a void inside. So you don't want that either. But empathy, as it relates to messaging, okay, marketing, even sales, okay, most coaches don't understand that you don't get paid for your competency or experience, or necessarily even your skills, okay? You get paid for your communication. And so this is different from selling what's called, or trying to sell, the process. And I call it the shiny shit. So if I were to go up to you and say, hey, look at this jacket. It's so shiny. It's the best jacket in the world. It is by far, like, you're going to love this jacket. It is the bomb. Now, the problem with that is subjective. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% fully ineffective, but usually it's highly ineffective, only because that is only according to your subjective viewpoint of what you're selling. So instead, a better way to do that is to say, oh, well, you know what? We've actually sold out of this jacket before. This is something that a lot of our clients have benefited, and they've gotten certain financial results. They've gotten certain energetic spiritual upgrades from wearing the jacket, and it has really allowed themselves to innovate and redefine who they are to attract more authentic relationships. Okay, boom. Now, what did I just do there? That's called empathy, because I'm able to think beyond my selfish taking vibe here and actually consider that my job first is to actually deeply understand how I can share relevant information and data, okay, as it accords to the results that are relevant to what my client wants. Okay, and that's what I mean by having empathy as a coach, is that's what you got to understand, is that you've got to think beyond your process and focus out on what they're struggling with, on what they're telling themselves every day in the morning and at night and throughout the day, and what they're wondering and what they're worried about and what they're afraid of and what they don't want to be experiencing, and the way that they don't want to get the result. Like, I know a lot of my clients don't want to be a soulless DM robot. They don't want to be a salesy, pushy salesperson that creates buy or die pressure. They don't want to feel like a contrived marketer. They don't want to have complex tech. They don't want to wait to have a fucking million followers. They want to have an authentic brand that transcends their business so that they can be their authentic self while still being an effective communicator and having a holistic lifestyle that's pouring into every area of their life in a way that is just aligned with their both physical desires and their spiritual desires, their higher purpose. And of course, sometimes even their little petty desires, their little lower self desires. Like, I'll show them, because you get to admit that there still is like a 0.5% inside of you that really does want to see your exes like watch you just winning, right? Okay, half joking, but not really. Okay, so because essentially there's a positive aspect to that, because you didn't just wallow in the pain like a victim, and you also didn't like try to defend yourself against the ex. You're like, no, I'm gonna take this pain, absorb the pain, not identify with it, and I'm gonna do something positive with that lower self motivation. So, anyways, now also in terms of the energetics of tapping into this, you've got to know the distinction between contraction, okay, versus expansion. And this is important in so many ways. And there's many reasons why someone wouldn't be able to become consistently expansive. But really discern like, this is different from being self-absorbed or self-concerned, which I would think is generally not a good thing. But self-possessed just simply says, hey, I choose to see myself first. I'm not going to filter my connection to myself through someone else's positive egoic opinion of me and validation of me. And I'm just going to let the cards fall as they may. But self-possessed is your leadership. It is you knowing who the fuck you are and why you're here, and having certainty and integrity, okay, and not lying to yourself, but also knowing what your natural, funny personality, playful style is, right? It's like more of the feminine energy, okay? And so that's more of an expansive state, which you'll be able to access more when you meditate, okay? Because your consciousn's expands. When you're in contraction, you're always focused on what can I take. You're incomplete, and you're always focused on what I need. Okay, and so these are two different things. And what I need, generally speaking, what that means is that you're not considering other people. Meaning, when you're contracted, you're self-absorbed. Okay. And so what I mean by this is that when you're self-absorbed, that's actually what people are doing to themselves when they say, I'm afraid of what other people think of me. You get the point? Because I'm afraid of what other people think of me, 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 me. Okay. So that's contraction. That's the small separate self. Whereas this is the big self. This is just coming from a collaborative oneness sharing vibe. There's a subtle difference. Okay. So this is more in abundance. This is more in scarcity. Okay. Now let's get back to the actual strategic component of, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, because this is a live training, but we will post we may leave the replay up for a little bit too. So now that we're going to talk into strategy, what I want to show you here is, now what you got to do is, what you want to do is you actually want to use your intuition to basically split off. Okay. If you're using a business model where it's like, okay, you've got two buckets. These are two buckets, is inbound / outbound. Okay. DMs versus live events. Okay. Someone who does live events really well is Apple. And what they did is they collapsed their marketing and sales process into one action. And you know that that's successful because people are lined out the doors and they don't have sales reps. Okay. So they know exactly, if you want to YouTube any kind of Apple commercial, you'll know exactly how you feel, which is exactly the fact that they know what they're doing with bringing a large group of people together. And other people will help you sell the product, because when other people buy, that makes you also want to be with the herd and buy too. So there's very powerful effects bringing a cohort of people together at a live event. Okay. Not only that, but you also get more leverage on your time. Now, the vulnerability of just relying on live events is that there's a lot of fight or flight in your nervous system and in your inconsistency in your business from not having an inbound outbound process. Okay. And so the benefit though, however, is cash collected, or at least revenue signed, much faster. Okay. And we've had it to where there had to be multiple bank accounts created, multiple merchant accounts created to receive that much money fast. Because if you're going to receive, 50K and your average is 20K to Stripe or PayPal, you may run into some issues and they may flag that and have to investigate it. And now, congratulations, you got 50K of money that you can't touch, and you can't even access it to give someone a refund. And it's just in an ice cube in a freezer. And now you have to go coach someone for free for 90 days to 6 months. So you don't want that either, right? So that's an important thing to make sure that you got set up when you're doing big money. Okay. Now you can mitigate that with having book a call as the call to action at the end of the webinar. And that's what we suggest, that you at least do this until you gain your confidence with this. But essentially, yeah, these are the two strategies that are working. Now we could go deeper into how you would attract and grow your audience to your social media, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just talking about your pre-existing audience now as it relates to that. So if this is if you're using both, you want to start either splitting or dedicating, right? Dedicate. Let's say it's 3 weeks out from the date of the webinar. Okay. And you decided that, well, once you start promoting it with, I'd say, once you start actually posting the first piece of content, then you actually want to start sending out these DMs to invite people, okay, to the free masterclass as like a gifted opportunity and invitation, the personal invitation to them to actually come to that. So that's what you would do. Now, my team, we generally split off the DMs. So my team sends about, across all the platforms, I'd say like maybe 80 to 150 DMs per day ish, outbound. And so we just split 50% off to, inviting people who we feel will be a good fit for the webinar, or to even be like an extra opportunity if they don't opt into book a gifted scaling session with us, the 10-minute scaling session that we gift to people for free. And there's nothing to buy on that first scaling session. It's just purely to help them get clear on what's possible for them in much near future, and to find the number one, pinpoint the number one block holding them back when it comes to either, lead gen, quality lead gen, or sales conversions, client delivery leverage structure, or a recurring revenue model that's going to create more scale and stability in their business. Okay. So that's what you got to do. And then so from there, let's say that you just dedicated let's just say 80% of the messages that you're going to commit to sending out. You're going to start actually inviting, right, people to the webinar and see if they want to say yes or no to the webinar. Raise your hand yes, raise your hand no if you don't want. But for whoever opts in and they want to, you do want to, of course, ask them, what's a good email what's a good email and phone number to coordinate. Simple as that. Now that you've got their info, email, name, and phone number, you want to get those. Okay, you want to get those pieces of information, because that's how you're gonna remind them in a repetitive cycle, in a planned way, through email and text. Okay. And even social media too, if you have the bandwidth, about the webinar. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, once you get that done, you'll make a sales page that's going to have a call to action to register. Okay. Now, listen, you don't have to spend more than an hour or 2 hours just on finishing it and getting and landing the plane on that. But that's just for your link in bio. Okay. That way you can also leverage stories, okay, to also promote signing up for that. And so, that the link in the story will lead to the registration page as well. Okay. For inbound registrations as well. Okay. So make sure you get that done. The framework is, of course, who is it not for? Okay, who is it for? Who is it not for? Pains, obviously outcomes, without what? Failed solutions, and kind of, let's just say, inauthentic like ways, basically. So failed solutions, inauthentic ways. Okay, in the context of we'll get more into like the details of like how you're going to frame it the right way, but like really just without sacrificing time or overwhelming energy, and how to build your authority and reputation. Okay, that's the bomb. The fact that it's free, it's a fucking no-brainer. But remember the 5 risk factors of mitigating risk. You can also apply that to the funnel. And then, of course, case studies. Okay. And you'll just frame this as how to. Okay. If you're feeling this, if you're experiencing this current situation, or if this is who you are and you have this current situation and you'd like to get to this outcome, okay, how to, you're going to learn on this free masterclass how to accomplish XYZ, okay, with my special, methodology or whatever that is, okay? And then, of course, it's the button to register. Put the case studies at the bottom, and you should be good to go. Okay, you don't need to be telling all these long stories. Okay. So now let's get into
Theo, quick question.
Yes.
Just so I understand, splitting that means you have a big list of leads and you're splitting how many to invite per day, and then dedicating is the actual invite? Or?
Yeah, I mean, splitting just generally means like just depends on how much time you have to, generate conversations, because without conversations, there's no conversions. But let's say you just you went all, you could either go all in on only having that as an outbound ask, let's just say,
Mm-hmm.
versus like percentaging it out, like saying, okay, like half of the messages that I sent out today will be, inviting them to check out a free gift or so on and so forth. And then the other half will be, hey, are you would love to invite you personally to this, free training, this free live training.
Okay, cool.
That's what I mean by splitting. Okay.
Sweet,
So
thanks.
you're welcome. My pleasure. So now what we're gonna do is you do want to do, like, you want to apply those pieces of content that I had mentioned earlier and just drip it out, like, okay, you want to do like 15 minutes before. This is like before event. You want to do 1 hour. You want to do 1 day. You want to do day, like that's day before. You want to do 3 days. Want to do 7 days. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to do, you can even do, you can also do 30 minutes. And then you can do 10 days. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It says, yeah, 7 emails, basically 7 emails. And all those emails can be, the message styles that I just told you, of what type of content to create. Okay, so that's kind of the drip campaign for that. Okay, now I love giving people like the strategies. Okay. So now from there, let's talk about the actual event. So step 1 is, like, you can even have this list on next to you to help you to basically just stay within the framework. Okay. Think of frameworks as malleable, but like paint, right? So if I draw green, and the paint starts to go down, and then I draw orange here, and what's going to happen is that the green's going to mix with the orange, and then so in other words, the green influences the color of the orange. It's the same concept with copywriting or conversation. It's okay, that's why the actual sequence of events, it actually does make it. That's what influence actually creates. So the first step, because it's all about framing it. So first step is, okay, welcome, or let's just say hi, right? Okay. Location and who you are, or what you do, right? Just gotta really introduce yourself and connect, right? Connect with these people and start what's called ADE, always demand engagement. When people are just spectating, you're training them to just spectate. But when you train people as to why it's important to engage, you're going to start creating buyers. Okay, so when someone invests energy, you got to let them invest. You got to lean back and let them invest. Okay, that's the exchange. You got to keep that vibe going. It's way more effective than just going, hi, I'm the dude with the pie chart, and let me just explain to you all this boring shit that's just going to turn you into an information grabber that doesn't take action. Okay, so we don't want that. So number 2 is big promise. And, you can even pre-frame that with, oh, you guys don't care what I've done. I have done a bunch of things. And essentially, well, actually, you'll just say here's the big promise. And this is what you do, your I help message. We support XYZ with creating this result without this failed solution. And my big promise is going to learn a major component, one of the biggest secrets of how to, create this result without that, pain point or what have you. Okay. Now, in the back of my mind, remember the principle of business. You have a pizza, you're going to go in depth on maybe one you're going to go in depth on maybe one major component of your offer, but you're also going to allude towards the end that they need all these other components. These are required to really get a fast result. Make sense? So you're going to give them a ton of value on one component. Let's say I give a ton of value on how to raise your prices and enroll more clients. Well, I could give you that training. You get a lot of value. But then I just said, well, if you're in front of the wrong audience, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? So then if you want to find out if or how we could support you with getting in front of the audience, well, then book a call. You see that I just did there? Or maybe I did the opposite. Maybe I did, all this strategy on lead gen and amazing. Maybe everyone thinks they're amazing at sales. They're like, yeah, I got sales handled. I just don't have enough people to talk to. Well, maybe I could give a training on how to attract more people, right? That's why you have to know, you watching, what are your clients' top 3 to 5 problems? What are they not able to do, be or have? Okay. That's your growth play for the week, right? So, but like if I know that people will self-sabotage the result, even if they knew exactly how to do it and they got the result with great marketing and sales, well, they wouldn't hold on to it because they got subconscious blocks around receiving and holding on to it. Okay, because they've got an unconscious identity of around some kind of like lack or identity of someone who's they're not able to be congruent with the person who they think they are inside. So their habits will just follow that person identity, right? And then that's why they say self-sabotage. Does that make sense? So there's many ways I could cut the pie. Okay, I could just choose and commit to like a very specific component of my problem that's going to ultimately help them to get to the big promise. The big promise of how to achieve the big promise, okay, in your niche. And the how is like, I'm going to show you a component of how to get there faster. But now then later, you're going to let them know about that. Well, there's also these other components, such as what? You got to have community, your environment, add quotes about people who talk about how you're going to rise or fall to the level of your community and standards or systems rather, right? So is this making sense so far? This is really powerful framework for you to start applying. But once we get out of that part, and some of you guys have actually seen me do this live, right? You see me actually do this live. I'm selling on the stage, okay? Now from there is, okay, social proof. Why trust me? Why would you trust me? Right? So we got into their why, okay, with the big promise. Why is this important to them? But then we got to help them be aware of who's teaching this. And that's where you go into your story. Okay? Pain to purpose story. And also client results. That's the social proof. Or maybe if you've got social proof, then just share also association. This is what's called sharing your status. Why do you share your status? Because status generates emotion. And people generally like to raise their value, or at least in the context of the 3D world as humans. And status naturally just creates emotions. Okay. Does it make sense? You gotta just respect people's right to not deeply engage with you. They may drop off. That has nothing really to do with you. But you gotta understand that at a high level is that like any people who you have either worked with or met or been associated with, don't be too proud to basically not share that. Okay. So from there, then you're going to get into the bulk of the training. And you're going to ask a question. Who wants to know 3 secrets? The 3 secrets are very important. Okay. This is very important. Whatever niche you're in, you always want to ask yourself a question how can I change their beliefs, meaning sell the right way? And by selling the right way, remember what sales is. It's helping people to see that the best chance at achieving their desired outcome faster is by seeing things from your point of view. Okay, so if I know that my point of view is I have an investment mindset versus a hoarding mindset, then isn't that something that maybe I want to include in the top 3 secrets? Maybe I would say, money isn't freedom. A lot of people think money is freedom. But then I would just tell a story about how I met this person who was a millionaire, and yet they were controlled by the money. They were trapped by the money. They found themselves in a golden prison. You get it? They created a golden prison. They're like, ha, we did it. We're in a golden prison. All right. So that's actually going to change their beliefs to show them that that is not full freedom because they're not internally free. You get my point? So they think that the freedom is outside of them in the form of money, which is actually believing that their bank account and their business is their resource when they don't realize that they are the resource. They are the financial freedom because the money came through them. Every dollar that they've made, that you've made watching, has come through you. That's how I know that you are the resource. If there's no separation, and that separation is a fabrication of the mind, that scarcity is an illusion too, then that would make a lot of sense to let go of that belief from my experience and all kinds of experiences that like hoarding money is going to give you any shot at receiving money. If your fist is closed, you see what I'm doing? Fist is closed, nothing can get inside. So you think you're actually protecting your resources, but you're actually pushing it away by keeping the fist closed. And that was the biggest secret epiphany that I had, that what's more important than money is energy. And energy always must be in motion, shouldn't it? Right? Motion creates emotion, and emotion creates motion. You get my point? So you see that, what I just did there? So that's a secret that still applies to you if you're if you're in health niche or the relationship niche. Energy is everything. And so because money is very closely related with the energetics, you've got to break the energy around the neutral resource tool called money. And that was a big secret. So, and then you can also do another secret of yours, just in according to like, what are the core components of your offer? So the second secret that I really want to do like an immersive, engaging training with you guys, I'm just role playing with you, is I want to guide you, through meditation, a healing ritual, or maybe the secret is that like, maybe someone thinks that they've done a lot of healing and maybe they are afraid to just own their full desires, and they're kind of using that healing as like an excuse. I'm not saying that's anyone here, but I'm just saying that like maybe they just don't know exactly how to XYZ, like meaning a skill set that you teach your clients. Maybe it's like you teach your clients communication. Maybe you teach them how to create better habits, right? But these are like actionable skill sets that is part of the system that you guys, teach, that you guys actually, your process, right? That's different from healing, if that makes sense. Okay, so that could be a second secret that you could reveal. And you just got to rack your mind about like maybe how there's a difference between choosing versus being ready, commitment versus the perfect time. You know, perfect time means you're a victim to your circumstance and to reacting to what is. If you commit to a choice in the now, then the circumstance and time mold around the new choice, because you're choosing from a higher self. You're choosing from a new identity. Okay, huge, major, life-changing distinction, isn't it? Right? But these are like the little levers, right? Like, oh, when I don't have the time, it's like, no, it's just it's not important to you, and it's okay. You just don't want it, but that's okay. Just admit it to yourself. You just don't want it, because if you want it, you choose to do something about it. So if you don't choose to do something about it, it just means you don't want it, but that's okay. Just want to help you have the right expectations. Right. So that's just a secret maybe that most people don't know. And that's also very like powerful, isn't it? Right. When you start to show people how to be so that they can behave. You get my point? Behave, be, have, be, and then have. So the commitment to a choice is like, I was realizing that time is an illusion or something like that, or that time is real. Well, no, time is real. It's just the decisions that make the difference. The quality of the decision. Is it a high quality decision or is it a low quality decision? Okay. Now that's going to stretch people's minds, and that could be a secret that you share with them. Okay. The third secret, and that's it doesn't matter which, secret you want to give a training around, but essentially you want to ask yourself, like, can I just make up a real story, a true story about either you or a client, right? A client case study, someone else that you helped. Okay. I would just suggest that's what you do is you talk about a client who was experiencing this problem. And then I came into the situation, this other character in the story came into the situation, and and they were feeling XYZ. They were feeling terrified. They were feeling objecting to changing anything, But what I asked them is, are you willing to, actually have the courage and be committed to the vision, to committed to your higher purpose, to be committed to the result? Okay. Instead of just talking about it. And they forgave themselves ultimately. I said, it's not your fault. But what are you going to do now? From now? You're going to realize it's a story. And then we took them through XYZ. We actually took them through the same process that I'll take you guys through today, a little segment of it. So I really want you to experience this. And then from there, she experienced result. Okay. And so now you got them thinking like, oh, that could be possible for me. Okay. Because I know everyone watching is like, whoa, that's cool that they saw it. That gives me some confidence that I could do it. But I still have a little bit of lack of self-belief that the small little me, can do it. Right. They're still stuck in the separation because the ego needs proof, not promises. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the third component could be like, okay, now I'm going to guide you through a little, whatever training you want to do. It's like, okay, let's have everybody come. Let me ask you a question, and you're just going to answer the question. Okay. What do you feel like is the biggest thing stopping you when it comes to whatever your big promise, training is all about? When it comes to generating more leads for us, or when it comes to attracting your ideal client, or when it comes to, scaling faster. What do you think? And they're going to answer the question. They're going to type it in. And then you're going to just provide value for that. Honestly, right? You're going to just actually give them some really good answers to that. Okay. And you collect those questions. And that's also good data for your marketing too, when they ask the questions, because if they're asking the questions, many other people are going to also be asking themselves the same question. Mm-hmm. How do I stop doubting myself? How do I stop, how do I become consistent? How do I have the right structure? How do I manifest abundance? How do I right? I feel like I'm just not able to, I can't quite put my finger on what's in the way. Okay. And then from there, like, let's say you gave the training, and then the next step would be the transition, right? Transition into saying, hey, you know what? I wasn't planning on really selling anything today. Today was really just designed for you to really gain massive value. But I'd be honored and privileged and happy to make a special offer just for everyone here who attended, because you are serious. You are like, you're actually invested time into yourself. You showed up where most people, see what I'm doing, polarizing. Most people, they are just spectating. They're just talking. They're just they're just getting information and getting false dopamine. Just like if you didn't do anything with this training, you just get false dopamine and then do nothing with it. And so I know that there's certain people, there's a subcategory of people here who are going to take this information, do nothing with it, and then just get more, mental masturbation. I also know there's other people who are going to go the self-study route, and that's awesome too. You see how I'm not like judging really? It's just you can do whatever you want to do. You're going to do what you're going to do. But there's a third people who may be mildly interested in the famous quote that like you rise or fall to the level of your system, standards, and environment. And that's that everybody watching this who is, my client and people who have been my clients who've helped get to multiple 6 and 7 figures and even 8 figures has been someone who understands that it is about that support and the accountability, like the actual being in the same fucking room. Does it make sense? Like, you got to get in the damn room and get the highest quality information, the most cutting edge information. Okay, because the gurus are not dumb. They've got families to feed, and they're not just going to give all the nuggets away. They'll be very generous. Don't get me wrong. They'll be very generous, but it's all still going to be very disorganized. It's not going to be customized for that client. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, now the transition is like, okay, well, I know that it's about the environment that stimulates your energy. People want to, get the most leverage on their time. So that's exactly why I created this process that overlays onto someone's already super busy schedule anyways. Like, this is not adding time, really. It's just changing how they're investing their time. And this is not robbing people of their authenticity. It's helping them actually raise their reputation and being recognized in the world for what they love and what they're good at. And so I don't even know at this point if I'm your guy, but I'd love to see how I could support the people who are wanting to actually put their, want to actually see if there's an alignment in growing together. Us together. Okay. And seeing if you're fit. So I'm going to open up, 5 slots on my calendar, and, can't guarantee that everyone's going to get a slot, but the first 5 people will not only get a fast pass past the waiting list that we've got going on, but they're also going to get a free gifted bonus scaling session. And like I said, there will not be anything there won't be anything for you to buy on that 10-minute sessions, just to actually feel out the vibe and see or show you the tool that I've got, and to see if or how it makes sense to move it to a second actual game plan call, where we give you like a full-blown, customized game plan. But the first call is really just the gifted call, and you want to frame the package the value of that 10-minute scaling session. And so that's really powerful to have a 2-step sales process after the webinar, because that's like fucking just giving prizes away. It's like Santa Claus giving presents away. And so it's such a low-hanging fruit. You're going to have 4 simple questions. And if you're one of my clients, you can ask me which questions you would send them, which is not a long, drawn-out application, but it'll be just a quick, like qualifier questions, 4 qualifier questions that we're going to go over on one of our coaching calls in the container on how to actually pre-frame the call the right way through text and email, etc. But then from there, also, I forgot to tell you, by the way, if you think of it, you can also share that if you, I'm going to give away a prize, you know, and it's like my favorite journal or my favorite pen, and whoever gets drawn out of the hat, I'm going to pull a name. Whoever stays till the end is going to receive that prize. And the only thing you got to do is just take a picture, screenshot of this webinar, or not this training, and tag me in it. Make sure you tag me at, Theo Unique Voice, Theo Unique Voice on Instagram, and post it to your stories. And then you're gonna get entered to raffle. Just put done in the comments, and I'll make sure to write your name. My team will write your name down, and you're gonna get drawn at the end. If you stay all the way to the end, we're gonna give away that prize away. We got other prizes too, but we're gonna give that prize away. So now you got the prize, more likely for people to stay. You've got we've given Apple Air at the last masterclass we did. We gave a free set of these like Apple AirPods, the professional ones, away to people. We gave a whole shit ton of stuff away. We also gave some the Keep in the Box away. We gave a bunch of stuff away to the masterclass, and that one crushed. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And you're going to drop the booking link, the calendar link right away. And if you want faster access to me, you can definitely text this number, your full name. And you'll also get, priority over the people who just book in through the calendar. So you can text this number. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm just making it so easy for people to just access me. And another last thing that you would say is, I only want for you what you want for you. And just leave it at that. Have a great day, everybody. Much love. Let me know what resonates. Shoot me a message if you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's the whole framework for the webinar. So, hi, big promise. Show them the pizza at the end that you're going to show that you're going to illuminate the other parts of the pizza around like what you realize is that the subconscious programming or whatever, energy work, etc. I'm glad you got a lot of value from this. I'm glad you got some massive breakthroughs, and I was able to answer your questions and then transition into that component. Okay. Don't forget also Q&A too during the after you share all 3 secrets. And do you see how you can really just kind of flow through that and just have it come out through natural? You can make up stories. You can have clarity on like what you're actually going to share and keep them engaged. So thank you so much for checking this out. Message me if this resonated with you. And I hope you enjoy this training. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe and follow more free content for conscious coaches and experts who are creating massive impact in the world and ready to take their business, financial freedom, wealth, stewardship to the next level, and soul aligned fulfillment to the next level. Definitely keep in the vibe with this channel. We're going to be doing a lot more live behind the scenes videos and trainings on this channel. So stay tuned and make sure you follow me on Instagram, Theo Unique Voice. Theo Unique Voice. Hit me up in my stories or my messages and let me know how you like this training. And we'll talk to you soon. Make sure you give me a follow, go through all my free content, give a lot of value away. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace, power, and love.